Hello again. Psychesoap. Yeah. This one is the second part. I'm talking about the passing of my grandfather, and I want to talk more about the trip. So I started it off in flight, just hoping that I get to from point A to point B so that I can start getting to point C, which is the location of the funeral. And throughout that part of it, it went off without a hitch. Everything was fine. You know, again, thank all of you brothers for helping me in that trip, for funding it as well. Um, as I get on that trip, I finally make it and first meet up with my mother, excuse me, or first meet up with my mom and everything, and she's distraught. This is one half of two parents, that that finally get to pass into another plane of existence. Let's just say, and she was happy to see me. She hadn't seen me in a year, and before that, she hadn't seen me in nearly 6 years. I happened to arrive on an actual blue moon. That's crazy. I don't want to do any, astrological dabble about it, but that was kind of fun, a fun fact, I guess I'll throw out there. And so, we talk about the trip and how I got there and the driving that I had to do. Cause see, I first flew, then I rented a vehicle, and then I drove, a state over to to go see them. Right. So the night before, you know, the funeral, we go to the wake, and at the wake were some people I haven't seen in a while, which were the family of my grandfather's wife. This would be his second or third wife, I believe, which was, the wife he was with until her passing. Excuse me, until her passing. Let's not confuse it too far. But I meet these people, and they are there, and I haven't seen them in a generation, like 20 years or more. And we talk about the old times and the good times and whatnot. And you know, I'm just gonna share this with you and drop it on you right now. I'm not making any bones. Let's not mince words. My mom is a straight up strag about it because she tried to start drama with one of the children of my grandfather's um, last and final wife on this earth. And they were arguing, and the moment the arguing started, I, paid my respects. I, slipped in a a copy of the Lord's Prayer because I wrote it down, and then I slipped it into the suit pocket of his corpse. And this is why I did that. Back in the day, I mean, like summer of 88, 89, I believe, the summer of 88. No, it was the summer of 88. And we didn't much know how to pray, really. You know, mom would, sit my sister and I down to have prayer before going to bed. And it was, now I lay me down to sleep type of stuff. But when we got over to my grandfather's place, and he lived out in the country, you know, and this is after his military service. This is his civil service working for the post office. And so when we got there to his farmhouse, because he had a farmhouse there, he had written down the Lord's Prayer for me anyway to say, because I have I had a great reading level, I guess. And so my sister and I would, at first recite it until we got it down, night after night during that summer. And then, after a while, we were finally able to just say it right off the top of the head. Because in the meantime and in between time, day in and day out, we would go to church and vacation Bible school, things of that nature. Sunday school for church days. And so I said all that to say this. I slipped a copy of the Lord's Prayer just like he did with me when I was a child. And so I walk away from the casket. I hear all of this arguing, and we get away from there, and we go back to where my mom was staying at the time. And so some time passed, and later on that night, we go to see, my mom gets liquored up. And so we go to see my grandfather's siblings, you know, my great uncles, great aunts, coming from California. Oh my God, right? Yes, I do have relatives in California. Go figure, right? And so they talk about him in his younger days and times, and I'm able to recall the dates because, man, my short-term memories cooked, but my long-term memory, oh man, it is golden, you know. And I'm just reciting dates and times, that I've spent with him, and I've recalled places that he had took me, to the he came from Arkansas originally. He grew up there, and we got to see the farms and stuff like that around Pine Bluff and Little Rock, and little bitty towns. And I actually seen a blue-eyed black man, and he was dark as this video, right? that that neither here nor there, but we talk about these times with my grandfather's siblings, and they show me pictures, and I roast the pictures. I'm like, what in the 70s album cover is this shit right here, right? And they would laugh their asses off. And then after we got done, my mom and I would drive her back home, and we got back, and we talk about some more good times. And the next day, we just sucked it up, finally got to the funeral. And well, when we went to the funeral, it was at the same church that he has gone to for most of his life, right? And well, when they have a funeral service, when a black church has a funeral service, they have church, okay? And the thing about it is that he's also a veteran, right? So the coffin was draped in the American flag. And I liked that. That was fucking awesome. Hell yeah. So, they had church, right? And then they get to the remarks part. They wanted me to say some words, and I didn't want to do it. I'd let his friends do this one. You know what I'm saying? Because for some strange ass reason, I'm good at eulogizing, I guess. And my mom wants to make me the family eulogizer for some fucking reason. But because I did it for my great grandmother, great grand aunt, um, my own cousin who had been, unalived by gunshot wound not that long ago, and I did not want to do it this time. I'm out of that business. And so we just let the service go on. And I thought that it was gonna be one of those straggy, black drama filled funerals, right? Where there's a fight going on, or one of those hood funerals where it gets shot up. But none of that happened, man. It went off without a hitch. But that one part was the invitation where they call you up to, if you want to you want to accept Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior, the invitation part. And I looked down at the casket at my grandfather, and I'm like, man, I know you've had a hand in this shit right here. Until the day you died, you put this in here, didn't you? So you know, but I look back up at the Reverend, and I'm like, oh man, let's just get on with the show. And speaking of which, he had a ceremonial military funeral with the 21 gun salute and all the trimmings. So let me get to it. 'Cause I was one of the pallbearers. I have a cousin. I have two cousins with the same first and last name, but different parents. You know what I'm saying? Totally different parents, right? And they're we're related, but totally different parents. And it wasn't no nothing weird going on, guys. So no, not that way, dude. But anyway, I thought I'd just throw that in there. But anyhow, military funeral, and so his casket is right here, in the front. They marching of they everyone at the grounds at the military cemetery at the grounds, they were saluting as we were rolling by in the limos. Now one of them was raggedy. Thank goodness I wasn't in it, because that day it was 115 degrees heat with 115-degree heat with 80% humidity or some shit like that, right? And so we're going up there, we finally get to the spot, and they say the last rites and what have you. The Reverend says the last rites and whatnot. And then the playing of taps goes on the bugler and everything, and that's pretty cool. And then the 21 gunshot salute. But before it happens, right? One of the cemetery director said to the audience and to the family, you know, if you're averse to guns, please plug your ears. And one of my great aunt asked, and she was a silly California goose, man. Let me tell you, one of the silliest. I bet you she might vote Kamala Harris if you one of them types, right? But anyhow, the she was asking the cemetery director, could you plug, do you have any earplugs for when that part comes up? And the funeral director said, the no, the cemetery director said, okay, I got some earplugs. And he just took his two pointer fingers, and he was going to offer to plug her ears with it, and they shared playful banter throughout the whole thing. So the playing of taps goes on, the folding of the flag, and the folding of the flag is given to his son, my uncle. And then I'm sitting with my mother. My cousin is sitting with, my uncle. We're the oldest children out of the two, you know what I mean? And As the 21 gun salute goes on, my silly goose great aunt that I'm telling you about got the freaking out and all of this shit. And I'm like, oh man, look, God, oh, this is so stupid, right? And so, toward the ending of the funeral, the limousine that my mom was in, because I was in the opposite one, it had AC, thank God. All right, so to speak. And so the limo that she was in had no AC in it. It was hot. It overheated, and so they had to go and get water and put in the water and the radiator and all of that good stuff there. So they had to do that. What else? What else? What else? Oh yeah, they finally get the water in there. We roll right on back. We go back to the church. We fellowship. That went off without a hitch. And that was when I thought the drama and all of that shit was about to happen, right? So nothing happened. And the next day came. I went and visited, different spots, relatives and friends that I have not seen in anywhere from 5 to 30 years. I seen my grandmother. I haven't seen her in a while. And that was cool. She's in a nursing home right now, and she's kind of still got her cognitive ability. She knew who I was, and that was a wonderful thing. And I'm appreciative and grateful for that. Uh, and then I finally get on the road, and so I'm back on the road, and man, I'm trying to drive from Oklahoma up to Colorado, where I'm gonna be taking my flight, get on the plane, and all of that stuff. And that brings me to here. But as that was going on, just before I did my video, and as I pulled up here, I was bawling, dude. Like, tears coming down my face. I was just, ugh, and it just all came out in waves. I guess maybe I was holding that in for a while. I don't know, but you know, that kind of happened like the opposite of when I found out that my cousin had died. My cousin was raised pretty much like a brother to me, you know, because he was my aunt's son. Dig, you know, and we lived with them. My mom's, my sister, and I lived with his mom, which is my aunt, and his sister. And she is now deceased of the same method, gunshot wound. But you don't see me trying to be some gun right. I mean, try to be some anti-gun activist. You know what I mean? But anyway, thought I'd share that with you. But back to the situation at hand. I was, before I got onto this video, and as I was driving, I was just, man, just a thunderstorm of tears. I'm crying and feeling sad for all of the people that I have wronged and caused pain and grief to, and also missing my grandfather. He was the one that taught me how to fish. You know what I mean? And how to how to pray and how to read the word, and because he was really great at it. I mean, you would say the scripture, he would give you the where it's located, you know. And or if you say if you gave him, he could do it in reverse. If you gave him the scripture, he'll say what it is. you know. Um he was that guy, you know. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's because I'm waiting for the the rent a car place to open while I'm recording this, and so I'll just be turning in this car and whatnot. Well, I thought I'd share that with you all to let you know how I'm doing, and I'm doing fine, man. I'm just processing grief, and everyone processes grief differently. Um, you know, I mean, I had another loved one die, and I was just bawling uncontrollably the moment I heard the news. Whereas here it was kind of the opposite. I really didn't cry much until later. It hit me later. Like, why am I doing this? So, I'm starting to notice here that I'm processing grief differently. Like one time, dude, there's another way I've processed grief. Death of another cousin, female, brother of my the other cousin here. And now I don't want to confuse it too much, but basically, it was the same people I just told you about. Two cousins of mine, a brother and a sister, which were my aunt's only children, both died. The sister died last, right? Which was my cousin, the female cousin, and I didn't go to her funeral. I didn't go because I was angry. It was more anger. I didn't cry at all for that death. I was angry, you know, really angry at her, at me because of how it happened. I was the one that told her to move from that place where her brother got killed to where I lived, and then she ended up getting killed while defending. While defending, she got accidentally got shot, mind you, while defending a friend of hers. And in a way, and from the look, and from this, she gave her life for a friend of hers. And there's no harm. I hate the fact that she did live life risky, on the way up until that moment. And I was all judgmental, but you know, I realized the 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 sheer um it was wrong of me to do that. I'll just say that. And yeah, man, we all process. I tell about this. I could just come from this, and I wanted to let that out. I'm doing this in recording form because I don't want to do it live, guys. I'm sorry, but I'm going through a lot right now. I'm a little tired, and I'm gonna be after I leave from here. I'm going to be going to the airport. And I got about shit 7 hours before from from right now, um, until I catch my flight. So, um, well, fellas, you know where my channels are. You know where my apps and cash apps are. I don't need to get into all of that, but thank you for recognizing this and wishing me the best and to be strong during these times, and for helping me get to this funeral also. A very, 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 very special shout to my man True Sherm, and very special shout to my man's Hammerhand for helping me, for funding the trip. He helped fund the trip, and I think that'll do it, fellas. Um, may you spend all may you have the greatest of times with your loved ones, 'cause, Yesterday is far behind us and tomorrow's not promised. So today you do move forward and stay in that present moment and love every instance and second of it. All right. Let me get on out of here, fellas. I'm rambling. Bye bye.